Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to Moscow region. Quite a long way outside of the center of Moscow today. I'm on the opposite side of Moscow from where I live, and I've come to show you a Russian typical supermarket. And this is actually a new supermarket that I've not put on the channel before, and a channel subscriber recommended that I come here and check it out. And I think together we're going to go see what a Russian typical supermarket looks like, and would you shop there? That's the real question I'm going to have for everybody. One of the interesting things with the region I'm in here is just across the road ahead there's some traffic lights. It's a little bit hard to see. There is a Globus hypermarket, the very well-known German hypermarket chain that's in Russia. I've put quite a few different videos on my channel. It's actually the one that I go to is quite close to my house. I'm about 3 hours on the opposite side of Moscow here by public transport. But you would have the option to go shopping there, of course. You know, it's literally a 5-minute walk from where I'm standing. And as we turn around here, you can see the snow still on the ground. It's still winter. It's still cold. It's kind of snowing every day, just a little bit at the moment. And pretty busy road right here. And where we want to go is Chesnok Supermarket, and you can actually see on the logo there, the literal English translation is garlic, and it's called Garlic Supermarket if you translate it into English from Russian. And it's in this quite kind of normal looking Russian business park, and a lot of businesses and companies and offices will be in the upstairs levels. And then there's this supermarket just tucked in here on this lower level. So my one main question is, once you've watched the video through, is would you come shopping in this kind of store? This is a very typical Russian supermarket. This particular chain of stores is only in Moscow and then the southwest of Moscow, further south from where even I live. And there's around about 15 locations. It's a Russian-owned supermarket chain, and they are looking to open more stores, more locations. Just a matter of finding the real estate and the space to open one of these stores. I really want to thank all of the channel members on my Telegram channel, Traveling with Russell, for giving me recommendations of stores to come to and different stores. And I want to still find that Russian typical supermarket and show it to everybody on the channel. The one thing that's actually nice about this store is they've actually got a ramp. So if you've got a pram or some kind of need to come up without using steps, is they've installed a nice ramp here. And this is actually steel, so it would have been added as part of the opening of this store. I'm just going to go up the regular steps. The one thing you've always got to be careful of here is them being a little bit slippery, especially with the snow and winter. And the store's actually open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. every day of the week. Not a problem. You can come shopping as much as you like. And this for me is going to be quite interesting because it's a good example of why you maybe don't want to go to a big hypermarket and you're happy to go to a smaller, close to home store. Now, they do actually have self-checkouts and not a person's using them. And over here on the right is a couple of the regular registers, and the lady gets to sit down and people are lining up to pay at the register because they don't want to use self-checkouts. Completely understandable. And this store actually has a mixture of baskets and a lot of shopping trolleys. And this is the normal way that I shop, because normally I'm on public transport to come to places and go home. And this is a very familiar sight in almost all stores in Russia, is these storage boxes. And this lady's going to demonstrate for me. I didn't even ask her to. She's popping her bag in there. She grabs the key. It also frees her hands up to go shopping. And maybe if you've brought a bag from another store, you don't need to carry it around in the shop. So let's head on inside and check this place out. Now, the actual store itself is described as a discount supermarket. There's some school supplies right in the front here. Very interesting section right as you first walk in. Some antifreeze, some candles, and it's really actually quite a big store. This is not a convenience store in any way. It's not a corner shop. This is a Russian typical supermarket. This company does actually have quite a few competitors in Russia. And what I find interesting with the name of this store, Chesnok, is there's a competing brand in Russia called Chesnok. And that's actually a bird. And this is garlic. And I think it really has no coincidence of the two names, but it's just interesting the way that they've written the name. And there's also different discount supermarkets and hard discount supermarkets that this would compete with. There is thousands of these types of stores throughout Russia, and a lot of them are trying to create this brand and concept. So you can see the nice purple color that's very noticeable in the store, and how clean and tidy it is just walking in. There's a meat section right at the entrance, which is a little bit different. I think the one thing with a lot of Russian supermarkets is they break the mold from what you know as being typical or traditional. So you'll see here there's no fruit and vegetables immediately as you walk in. It's, a mixture of some chocolates, some alcohol, some champagne, then there's some children's items, there's toilet roll, and it really is a mix of different things as you come in the store. And then we get to the fruit and vegetable section. Now, what's very typical with hard discount supermarkets is they don't have a large fruit and vegetable section. It's normally very small. Normally it's just one basket of each. They get a delivery every day or every other day. They sell through it and they get more delivered. Helps to keep all the things fresh, and gives exactly what you need. There's all the essentials. Oh, and have a look in the corner. There's some garlic. Garlic supermarket. And there's garlic right here. Oh, I was actually hoping I'd find some. And I did. You can see all the very normal vegetables. And then the fruits. And the other thing with hard discount supermarkets is they have a much simpler pricing structure and how they advertise. They just put these A4 boards. They're nice and large format, so they're easy to read. And then a lot of the stuff is just displayed on pallets or wooden risers. And then most of the products are coming right out of the box, so they're not stacked onto shelves. We will see that around as we walk a little bit further. But it just keeps the display a lot simpler and a lot easier for people to put out. They just get restacked. Last in, first out. First out, last in. I always get that one mixed up. But, it's just a simpler way to have things displayed. Some olive oil here. There's some eggs. Just a couple of different types. And the other thing with hard discount supermarkets and stores like this is they don't necessarily have a big range of things. So you're not going to see 20 or 30 of a particular product. You're only going to see 3 or 4 different choices. So it's also easier to shop because you've got less things to pick from. So you can, of course, go to 7 other supermarkets within walking distance. But if you're coming to this store as your local shop, or you've made a trip to come here, you know that it's a simpler selection, and you grab what you need and you're good. You'll see again in this middle aisle all the boxes and packaging that's what they like to call shelf ready, but not necessarily all of them go on the shelves. They go on these pallets. So you can see here things like long life milk. There's also sugar. And I was just looking over this side here. There's some flour and salt. And this thing is pretty interesting right in front of us here. Not this gentleman. Now, they don't actually have glass door fridges. They actually have one set up right here with some seafood and mayonnaise. But the main refrigerated section is a walk-in cooler. We've seen this in a couple of other stores where it just simplifies putting everything on display. You just need one walk-in cooler. Behind the shelves here is all the back stock. And then in the front is all the products, literally. So you are walking into a fridge. Luckily I've got my jacket on, it's nice and warm still. Lots of different types of meats and salamis. And there's some cheeses. So there's quite a lot of stock here. There's not just a few items, there is whole shelves of products. As you have a look at all the different hams and meats and cabanossi. Is that the right word for them? I always get that word mixed up. I think I'm always saying it wrongly. The only thing in here, the fans are blowing. Of course, we're in a fridge, right? That's expected. Quite a few choices of cheese. And as it's very typical in Russia, an endless supply of sausages and different things that you can make breakfast and lunch and dinner with. There's some more nice cured hams. My wife and I love these. Slice it up and maybe on a piece of bread with a bit of butter, or different ways you can eat it. Milk selection, and there's some yogurts as well here. So in this refrigerated area, there's everything you need. You just have to brave the cold weather. Now it's probably warmer in here than it is outside today. I hadn't been to this chain of stores at all in Russia until literally today. And pretty much I'm walking in at the same time as I'm filming it. I did just briefly come inside and talk to one of the staff to let them know what I'm doing. A lot of times they're wondering what I'm filming and showing, so I just find it polite to come and do that. You can see here different pastas. And there is also bigger packaging in some of them, but mostly it's the normal supermarket size packaging. There's the bigger packaging of flour here. 60 rubles for 2 kilos. That's $1 Australian, or about 75 cents US for 2 kilos of flour. The only thing that you find with the box displays is you've got to have a bit of a closer look at everything. You know, it's not just beautifully in front of you, so it does make you a little bit more active and want to kind of see what's in each box as you walk around. Popcorn, yes. I haven't seen it like this before, in these bigger bags. I think, again, this hard discount concept, you know, it's very different from, you know, hypermarkets and some of the more beautiful looking supermarkets. But the thing is, they're able to keep lower prices and keep things a lot more reasonably priced for everybody. The one thing that somebody told me when I was going to come here is you'll see a bakery. And there's one right here. And it's got my favorite garlic bread right here. I might have to get one of those for the walk after I've done the video. Very nice. And actually back there, well, you can't quite see, but there's the fridges and then the ovens. And if you come here after 8 p.m., which is the last hour of trading, you get discount as well, because they want to clear through all of the daily products. You can see here the social bread, as I like to call it. So the standard loaf of bread is 34 rubles, so less than 50 cents US. It's not even 40 euro cents for a very normal, classic loaf of bread. Most people aren't really going to go for the packaged bread when there's the fresh loaf right down there. I think that's for everybody the same way. There's some nice chocolates back here. Chocolate mints. Is anybody from England and knows after 8 mints? This is something quite similar. And there's even Nutella right there. Have a look at that. And some chocolates and plenty of choices. You know, although the design of the store is to be a limited selection, they still have more than enough choices. Now, I like Alpine Gold, but this is Alpine Krone. That might be worth a try. I wonder. It's made in Russia. It's maybe something else I need. I'm seeing things that I want, and I've just walked in here. The other very popular thing in all Russian supermarkets is the pay-by-weight candy. So you can literally just get a handful of whatever you want, and it's priced by the kilo here. Sometimes it's by 100 grams. So if you don't want a bag of one entire product, you can get a few little bags of different things. We've always got a little dish on our kitchen table at home. I think that's the same with most Russian houses that you go to. There's a little candy bowl sitting out for you to have something. And we come around to the drinks. So that question I'm going to ask everybody as you're watching this video, is this a store that you'd come shopping in? Does it really bother you that it's designed as a discount supermarket or a hard discount supermarket? This has very much the feeling of Aldi or Lidl, if you maybe go to any of those stores, depending on where you're watching in the world, and probably a little bit cheaper here as well. I mean, the place is immaculate. You know, you can go to some discount stores and they're not particularly well looked after, but I think the staff in this store really take pride in the shop. Have a look how wide the aisles are as well. There is enough room for a few thousand shoppers in this store. It's very, very spacious. And look what's right in front of me. Pepsi. And there's a whole pallet of it. This Pepsi is actually from Belarus. And it's always interesting to have a look at the manufacturer code on the different Western brands that are not in Russia. And then I come in here and I see all the different flavors of Pepsi, Miranda, and there's even Coca-Cola right there. Now this actually has the white label on it, which means it's imported from somewhere. Let's have a look. And this one's actually from Poland. So we've got Polish Coca-Cola and Belarus Pepsi in the store. And it's not that expensive either. Only 70 rubles for a can. Now you can go to other places and pay 120, 150 rubles, because a lot of shops now think that it's the correct thing to do to charge a premium for the imported drinks that aren't domestically produced. There's a whole line of different Pepsis here. I'm really not a Pepsi drinker myself. Someone needs to let me know which is the better Pepsi. One thing I did notice is, have a look, I think this might be the new Pepsi logo as well. Someone needs to let me know in the comments. This particular one is, I think this is also from Belarus as well. They do actually have the country of origin on most of the signs. It's a matter of having a look a little bit more closely. So there is actually shelving on this back wall. So apart from the pallets on the bottom with the stock, they do have some shelf stacked items. And I'm just seeing Pepsi and Miranda everywhere. It really draws your eye when you're so used to all of the Russian brands. Then you come into this Total store and you don't expect to see them, and they're just stacked up. And there's some more juices. And here's something I know from Belarus very well. This is mega chips. And it's a bit hard to show what they look like, but they're long, thin wafers. Think of Pringles, but sheets of chips. And I've had these a lot in the past. There's a shrimp one there with cheese. There's a mushroom one. Actually, they've got quite a few different choices. But if you want something that's kind of like Pringles, but not, and it's really completely a different shape, but it's got that similar feel and taste to it in terms of a chip. There's a frozen section on this side. And as is very typical in Russia, they've got the scoop and pay option. So you can get the nuggets there, fish fingers, some shrimp, and just scoop it into a bag and you pay by weight. There's also some other packaged fish as well. And fish fillets. Now, of course, if you went to the bigger hypermarket like Globus over the road, they'd have a aquarium with fresh fish. But this sort of store will just have packaged fish because it's just a cheaper way to display and sell it. More than enough types of Lays. And then some of the other biscuits. There's the Lays stack. which is very much the exact thing as what Pringles was. Has anyone had these Lay's version before? Let me know in the comments if you have. Maybe you're recognizing some products, maybe not. Canned tuna. There's plenty of different canned fish. Over here, every Russian's favorite crab sticks. You can even buy them individually if you just want a few of them. Normally we buy them just like this in the package. Perfectly fine. For New Year we had crab salad quite a few times. Look at how many types of Lay's there. I didn't realize. This whole middle section here is Lay heaven. Lay's heaven? Excuse my correction of English. And then we come to the alcohol section. And very spacious again, and this floor is just absolutely immaculate. I always have that saying, you know, if you can eat off the floor, it's clean enough for people. And I've got to point out this guy, because if anyone watches all my videos, you know that in almost every video there's the floor cleaner guy, and perhaps he's a cousin or a brother of the one in the other video that I did. They are in every supermarket you go to. It's hard to avoid them. I almost feel like they're stalking me sometimes. Another question I have for everybody is, with your weekly shopping habits, do you go to many different stores and do shopping at maybe 3 or 4 different supermarkets? Or are you a one supermarket person? You might do your weekly shop in one place. Or do you like to come to this hard discount type store? Maybe you want to go to the hypermarket over the road. Maybe go to a butcher to get some meat. Let me know what your shopping habits are. One thing that's interesting with the beer section is there's quite a lot of German beers in this store. And again, you can see these white labels. So the cans are produced in another country. And then for Russian sale, they have to have the Russian label on it. Of course, then it would translate the ingredients or information about the product. But there is quite a lot of choices of German beers. And the one thing as well, which is typical in Russia, is you buy your beer by the can. I mean, I'm sure wherever you live, not in Russia, you buy it either in a 6-pack or maybe in a case of 24 or 30. But here, you just buy 1 or 2 or as many as you want. Just thought I'd show Corona right here for 128 rubles. So just on $1.50 a bottle in US currency. And if somebody lives somewhere in America watching, let me know what you're paying for a bottle of Corona. Is it $1.50 a bottle where you live? Be interesting to know. So their alcohol on this side is all in boxes. So you've really got to know your brands, or maybe this is the point of the store a little. You've got to, you know, grab out one and have a look and see what the different product is. You know, rather than putting it on shelves and having to pack it out and take time, just cut the top off it, put an A4 sign, and you're good. If you might be from the United Kingdom, I actually have a fairly big stack of Guinness right here, and this is probably the highest priced beer in the shop, but it's actually from Ireland. So this is the Irish imported Guinness. I mean, almost 200 rubles. Now that's pretty safely double or more almost every beer in here, even the imported beers. Pretty much classic can of beer, 70 rubles, 90 rubles, 80 rubles, so under €1 or just about $1 US. And then if you want the Irish imported beer, $2 or €2. But you can still get Irish beer in Russia 2 years after all of these companies said they left Russia or they're not available here. And you can definitely walk in and buy it. They've got a good amount of stock here. If you think of just seeing all the pallets like this, there is a very nice selection. Come then to vodkas, and then slowly into the wine section. And I'm fairly sure I won't find Australian wine. This store really doesn't have a lot of choices of wines. Perhaps if I walked over to Globus, I could walk in and find some, no problems at all. And there's some brandies right here. A little bit of a mixed display. They've got gin in between whiskey. That's the only gripe I have when I come to these sort of discount stores. They don't necessarily put everything in the right spot, and the merchandising might be lacking a little. My number one comment, I think, will be on this video, will be the shop is full and there's no shoppers in the store. Now, it is actually Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. as I'm here in the shop, so it's definitely a working day today for everybody in Moscow and Moscow region and Russia. So most people are going to come a little bit later, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And people that are here shopping now maybe have the day off or maybe retired, and they come shopping on a Monday afternoon where it's a little bit quieter than on the weekends, which Saturday and Sunday is the shopping day in Russia for most people in bigger supermarkets. I just noticed something on the signage as I've been walking around, and I was hoping to see different country flags, but there's quite a few here with Belarus as the flag. So perhaps this store stocks some of the things from Belarus more than from other international countries. Of course, Belarus from Moscow is a 6-hour drive, so it's very easy to bring things across the border and into Russia. And I just noticed, and I've looked up here, how they've got the Belarus flag on some, and then on other countries they don't have the flag. It's not a problem. What they do, they put the country of origin of the products. So you'll see here Russia on this one, and then over here Kitai or China on this one, which is actually really nice, especially when you see it across the whole store. In Australia, for instance, we really only have it on fruits and vegetables and not the general part of the supermarket. There's quite a few different sparkling wines on this section in front of me here, and then you can see the country of origin set as Russia, and all of the ones all the way down here, and 250 rubles around about for a bottle of sparkling wine, so $2.50 US, about 3 Australian dollars for a bottle. Very reasonably priced. I'm really not going to try and pronounce the name of this washing powder here, but there's a 6.5 kilo box. I guess the English words are fairly easy to pronounce, but this particular one is from Germany, and just over 1,000 rubles for a 6.5 kilo box of German washing powder. So 11 euros, 11 US dollars for a crazy big box of washing powder. Somebody in Russia really has to tell me what the reference of the garlic is for this chain of supermarkets. I'm super curious. I mean, of course, we saw some garlic in the vegetable section, but I'm wondering what the reference is to the whole store as a whole. Perhaps maybe the owner loves garlic, and that was his idea behind naming the store. Someone please let me know where that reference came from, because I'm super interested. Of course, can't go to any supermarket without seeing a big stack of toilet roll. And of course, in hard discount stores like this, it's just straight off the pallet and straight on display. Nothing tricky about it. The pack of 8, 160 rubles. So just about $1.80. I think the exchange rate right now for US currency is 91 rubles for a dollar. So for me, it's easier to just go 100 to 1. And then it's easier just to move the decimal place when you're looking at all the signs. And if you're curious of the pricing of them, well, more German washing powder. You need to know many languages when you come to the store. You need to know what you're buying. I guess you take a chance on it sometimes and rely on it being a good brand name. There's a small personal care section here. And then we are almost around to the very beginning again. And this middle island here, I wonder if this is maybe like a promotional island where they put things out. Of course, we're coming up now to Valentine's Day, but I think maybe this is just out because not sure if my wife would love me if I got her some shampoo for Valentine's Day. She wants chocolate and flowers. If anybody's a part of my Telegram channel, Traveling with Russell channel, there is a very well-known member in there called David. He's from Italy, and I almost give him a shout out on every video. And I found some body wash here, I think it is, called Amalfi. And of course, it's a very well-known place in Italy. And there's a whole Amalfi section right here. I think it's shampoo. It might be maybe body wash, I think. I just noticed on the fruit section here something quite interesting. And it might be for everybody who maybe buys fruit from different countries other than where they live. So you can see here, there is something from Russia, China, and Azerbaijan. How's that? From 3 different countries. And then whatever the canned food is right here, there's some from Belarus. So how is that? International fruit section here in a Russian supermarket. If you're curious if there are shoppers in the store, there definitely is. And I've pretty much avoided most people as I've walked around just to be polite to everybody shopping. Now, I know this is probably not groundbreaking and the only place in the world, but please tell me where you live. Do the staff get to sit down on comfy chairs at the registers? Is it just a Russian thing? Please tell me in the comments, because this is very typical and normal in Russia that they get to sit down and serve everybody, and everybody just going through the normal pay section rather than using the self-checkout. I'm just curious. Oh, now there's lots of people. I don't try and intentionally show crowds or not crowds, because no matter which video I make, it's always going to get the comment, there's no shoppers, the place is empty. You have to remember, I can walk 5 minutes from here, from the exit of this store, and walk into one of the biggest supermarkets in Russia, in Globus. So there is so many places that you could shop, not just this store, of course. But I really think people come here for the low prices, plenty of imported products, and just that simple supermarket layout. I mean, does it look to you like an Aldi or a Lidl? I think that's probably the closest comparable store I can tell you internationally. In Australia, we've definitely got Aldi, and it has that feel to it. We don't necessarily have the open packaging like this, but definitely the feel of the store. You just need to let me know in the comments, would you come shopping here? Would this be somewhere that you'd prefer to come shopping rather than the bigger, larger hypermarkets? And do you need a 6.5 kilo box of washing powder? I think the only downside for me, I'm not going to be carrying that on the bus to go home with, that's for certain. It's definitely an interesting dynamic that people are lining up at the register here, and they're almost boycotting the self-checkouts, which I'm not a big fan of them either. But look at all the money they've invested into this technology, and not a single person wants to use it. And a lot of people want the feeling of being helped by somebody at the register and have that personal interaction with the employees in the store. As I walk on out of the store, I really hope you found this interesting and given you an insight into what a Russian typical supermarket looks like. And this particular chain, Chesnok, or garlic as it translates, I really hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, or maybe give it a stalk of garlic up. Is that what you call a piece of garlic? I don't know. Post a comment, let me know what you think. Would you shop here? Was it a sort of shop that you shop at already somewhere in the world? Let me know in the comments. It was kind of the whole premise of coming to this store. And the fact that 5 minutes walk away is the biggest supermarket in Russia that we could go to instead of going to this shop. But I really wanted to come here and check it out and see what it felt like. For me, the shop was beautiful. It was immaculate, actually. I don't plan out anything with these ahead of time. I literally turned up. I just briefly walked in for a second or two and then came outside and started filming. So this is the video that you're seeing as I'm slowly heading towards the bus stop and my 3-hour trip home. I've got 2 buses to catch and 3 metros. Well, 3 trains, then I'll be home. Thanks everybody. If you want to follow me on Telegram, there's a link right here. And I put a lot of photos of my daily travels and some of my opinions and thoughts about everything that I see here in Russia. If you want to watch an old video, click right here. I'll put the link up to Chesnok, which is probably the nearest competitor to this store. So you can take a look at that and compare and let me know what you think. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.